Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I do appreciate this time. This is a special week for me, personally, because it is recognizing something that I grew up with. It recognizes something that I am that I can't get a part of who I am. And I appreciate Mr. Pascrell, my friend from New Jersey, talking about this and what that actually means. But for what I'll just term as a trooper's kid, this week means a lot. And it would mean even more when we come here if really we'd have had more to do this week. And I say that with respect and I say that with love because this is a good bill and I urge everyone to support it, and I want to. But just this past week in Georgia, just as was recommended and said from New Jersey, just in the past few days in Savannah, Georgia, we lost another officer, Sergeant Kelvin Ansari. In an incident, he went home, went to work, and did not come home. For the past few years, I have been in this body, and we have worked during Police Week, even beforehand, to bring up bills and to bring up issues that involve our law enforcement community. Because I recognize, and I know others in this body do as well, that on those mornings when they get up to go to work, the ladies and gentlemen who serve us in our law enforcement community on all levels, they're given a gift of life to go serve others. And on many days, unfortunately, the headlines will show to us that they don't return home. Some through violence, some through activity, some, as we have seen this past year in this country, ambushed in front of their own police departments. Cruelly murdered by those anarchists in this country who believe that the police are the enemy. And sometimes fed by others who want a different version of what upholding the law means. And that's sad. And my heart breaks. Because when those officers don't come home, there's a space left at the table. There's a void left in the hearts of family and communities. One of my earliest remembrances of my dad as a trooper, and one of the biggest things that made an impression on me was years ago, there was a trooper who had made a stop on 129 South out of Gainesville, Georgia, T.C. Dillard. As he made that stop, a young man who was not in his right mind through drugs came over a hill and hit him. I remember hearing about it. I was young at the time, and I remember him being taken to the hospital, and I can remember my dad and other officers all going to the hospital and were giving blood and doing whatever they could. It was one of the first times I remember, in my earliest remembrances, of watching my dad cry to a scrawny kid from North Georgia who had a dad and has a dad who's 6'2", 250 pounds, carried a .357 on his hip, and wore the badge of the Georgia State Patrol. That was and is my hero. To see him cry was something I had not experienced. To watch him love another officer and do anything is something that has impacted me today. As we move forward and we look at the things today, I guess my only thing, and I wanted to spend just a few more moments on this, is because this is our only chance. This is the only bill that we have dealing with Law Enforcement Week this week. I know that we're busy in Judiciary Committee. I know that we've got a lot of other things going on. I know that we have so many things that we need to investigate, and I get that. And for once, I'm just honestly speaking, as much as a congressman as I am as a trooper's kid. 30,000 officers will be coming to Washington, D.C. over the next few days to honor those who have fallen and to remember this week. And this bill, which is a good bill, is it. It's all we're offering. It's all we're discussing. In years past, in 2018, we had 6 bills, including 1 rule bill. In 2017, 9 bills, including 2 rule bills. 2016, 8 bills, including 2 rule bills. Protect and Serve, Thin Blue Line, Probation Officer Protection Act of 2017, the Comprehensive Opioid and Abuse Act, which gave our officers dealings in how they can actually help in our opioid crisis. I understand that we have a lot going on, but in our committee right now we have H.R. 816, which would ensure certain law enforcement officers on college campuses and their families are eligible for death and disability benefits under the Public Safety Officer Benefit Program. H.R. 816 is named in honor of Sean Collier, a police officer at MIT who was murdered by one of the Tsarnaev brothers after the attack of the Boston Marathon. This is to make sure their family has security. Another bill from my committee colleague, Mr. Rossenthaler from Pennsylvania, is aimed to prevent law enforcement suicides. Other bills that we have pending for law enforcement by helping them provide resources to combat opioid crisis or curb sex trafficking. In years past, we've considered numerous bills, not all of them, in fact, most of them non-controversial. But we didn't see to have time to mark them up this year or to bring them forward. I understand, and I'm trying my best to just bring an honest concern. Because when you look at these officers, and I used to ride with them as I got older and I went to seminary, I was a chaplain for the Gainesville Police Department. You never leaves you. And as I came here today, and I appreciate my friend from Georgia, we've shared so many things together, we've done this, and Mr. Pasquarello and others who've talked about this. But this is it. This is our only chance to actually show to these people, instead of just saying we appreciate you, we love you, and we're glad that you do what you do, and offer them help in the things that they do. We offer their bulletproof vest, which is good, but it's all we're offering right now. And I want to make sure on this floor, for those kids whose dads and moms didn't come home this past year, just a reminder that it's not about what we say to those officers. It's also about what we do. I live each day as best I possibly can to do as best I possibly can for the ones who have given me so much. My mom, who I lost last June, my dad, who I still have, who taught me how to grow up, how to love, how to care, taught me to serve my country in the military and to serve my country here. But when I come to a discussion today, and I heard my friend from New Jersey so eloquently discuss those who lost their life in New Jersey and here in Savannah, the one thing that gets me up every morning, and if I've had a bad day or if I'm thinking about it, and when I hear all the discussion in this country about officers who are bad or officers who are not doing it right, and officers, I understand the discussion that we need to have in our communities and how we need to come together as communities to help each other and to lift each other up from the poorest communities to the richest communities. The police are there to take the law, and if they're bad ones, they need to be got out, but they're 99.99% good who honestly just want to do a good job. And we need to honor that. But when we talk about bulletproof vests, when we talk about other issues on how we care for officers, let's remember those this week, especially those who didn't come home. Because, Mr. Speaker, except by the grace of God, I would have not known my father. Because on a traffic stop when I was still a small child, he walked up to a car. He caught a glint of a gun laying on the shoulder of the driver. He fortunately was able to pull his gun, and they stood there for many minutes in a standoff until the gentleman threw the gun out of the car window. That incident almost deprived me of knowing my hero. When we talk about police, when we talk about law enforcement and the other first responders in all stripes, but the police we're talking about today, I just humbly believe that there's more that we can do. And I look forward to working with our committee to do some more throughout this year. But on this week, it's worth pointing out that these folks stand in the line, many of them not sleeping while we sleep, and they are worth protecting, and they're worth more, frankly, than this one bill. And I look forward to working with my Democratic colleagues to make sure that we see more come across this floor. And with that, I reserve.